My husband and I and our two kids, we were living in India, and we had already lived in a couple of other places before that, and we loved living in India. We loved living in Egypt and other places, and when we were transferred back, it really hit us hard. We were not quite ready to come back. But we didn't have a choice. We were being transferred, so we came back. But I really regretted that my kids were not going to continue to have that cultural immersion experience. And so that just started me thinking about, well, I'll just find a way. I'll find a way around it. I wanted to find ways to continue the constant learning and discovering of new people and new cultures. So I started thinking about new toys, and I could not find them. There were toys for learning a foreign language when you're a kid, and there are geography toys, but there really isn't anything out there that gives kids a kind of immersion travel experience. So that was the germ of the idea, and I took that germ and I cultivated it for a long time. Like, as my kids were growing, I was talking to people about my idea, and I started with one little part of my first product idea, which was a playmat. It would be like if you had landed in a new place, say in Shanghai, and when you first arrive, you're looking around and you're seeing things, you're observing things, and that's what I wanted this playmat to do. So a kid has a fabulous imagination, and they're on this playmat and they're seeing all the little cultural differences, and we give them a chance to explore that and incorporate what they see into their storytelling. But also, then I thought, well, all these cool things are there. How are they going to know, eventually learn what they are? So I thought, well, I have to write a book. It started with that little germ of an idea. Then I started with one part of a play set, and then I added a book, and then I added wooden figures, and then I added story cards, and all of that came together over actually many years. For some reason, recently I asked both of my kids what value they felt there had been to them in their lives, in the living and the traveling overseas. And both of them said, well, I feel like I just have so many more opportunities open to me because I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of the world. I'm interested in the world. I'm interested in people. And so I feel like I have a wider worldview, and I can do different things maybe than other people might have the confidence or the interest in doing. So yeah, raising my kids has definitely helped in this process because I can see the results. In fact, I had a conversation here with someone not that long ago, and it was interesting to hear him say what he discovered on an international trip, which is that what he said was, it's amazing that people do things differently, but it's just as good of a way of doing something. I didn't realize that there would be so many different ways of doing things, but then when you see it in the context, you're like, oh, that's a good idea. So I think what people maybe don't realize is that it's such a huge world. People are so interesting, and there are so many different ways to do things, and they all kind of make sense when you put them in context, and that's just fine. So early on, when I was starting to think about my company, I really needed other people to help me along with my ideas, because anybody working alone knows that it's not easy to move projects forward without some kind of sounding board. So about 10 years ago now, I founded an entrepreneurs group that meets twice a month, and what it is it's a sounding board. It's almost like an informal board of advisors, and we help each other. So instead of being a networking group, it's more like a group where we come together. We know each other's businesses now, so if I come in and say, here's my new product, what do you guys think? It's a sounding board that is honest and not everybody's not trying to be polite. They're really wanting you to get the best feedback possible. And then I take away all the expertise of all the people in the room, and I'm able to make my own decisions from it. So that group has proved to be invaluable because I can't work in an echo chamber. I need that kind of background and advice. And before I started working at Startup, that was really my only opportunity to bounce ideas off of people. So that group, it's called Hershey Entrepreneurs Resources and Support, it's HERS for short. And it's now up to 260 members, and we get maybe 10 people at a meeting, and it's a real working session.